We're going to talk about how to use everyday objects that you might find around your house to create fine art images. And I'm so particularly passionate about this topic because when I started out creating, I had nothing at my disposal. I didn't have money, I didn't have resources, I didn't have a good location. So what I had was whatever was already in my apartment. So the first one is this little candle holder. And I just got this recently, just as a candle holder. The reason why I really like candles is because they're so timeless and they add really dynamic light to an image. So you could use something like this and look at the glow. You can see it, right? Oh, I sure do hope you can. I see it on myself. So there's a nice glow, and depending on how you hold it, it really changes the story of the image. If you sort of hold it like a lantern, if you are holding it close to your face, to a hand, you know, there's so many ways that we could use something like this in our art. So candles are a good go-to if you're thinking about experimenting this week. And don't forget the smoke that comes with the candle, because that's also really good to photograph if you can manage it. The next thing that I grabbed is saran wrap or plastic wrap, depending on where you are. And now this is for my creepy folk, okay? So some of you guys might be like, oh God, what's she about to do with this weird plastic wrap? Well, there are lots of things that you can do. So one of the things that you can do with plastic wrap is paint on it and then use that paint as an overlay or a texture, which is really fun to do. So you can use this just as it is to paint on, and then it's clear. So you can photograph things on top of it. For a nice, easy sort of way to paint on. Or you can get creepy with it, right? Because, you know, it looks... Is this the weirdest thing I've ever done on video? Maybe. You see the way that it sucks in? It's really interesting to me, and texture can be applied to this. And this would be a great idea for something like suffocation as a theme, entrapment, feeling stuck, feeling, so many different things. And then of course there are many ways that you could use something like this too, like maybe as a bind around a hand. Who knows? Molasses, apples, you know, food is a great prop. Here I have these lemons and all sorts of fruit that I got at the grocery store that day. Hands, getting someone who's in your household with you to help you as a prop, which is really fun to do as well. Flour that I just photographed. Flour, sugar works really well. Salt works really well. Anything that has, you know, kind of a dense particle to it, awesome. These are images that I use things from around my house. For example, these two images that you see here were shot my very first week of creating. I just picked up my camera. I did not know what I was doing. And in the image on the left, it's just a cardboard box that I cut out to look like a sign, and I attached a piece of string to it, and I created the picture with that, just whatever I could find around my house. And then the picture on the right was just a ball of Christmas lights that I balled up to look like light. Here we have a candle and a light bulb, a bed sheet, absolutely nothing other than what's around my house. In this case, sheets from my childhood that I put light behind to come through, so it had that kind of glowy childhood lantern look. Here we have another light bulb, a chair that was from my dining room, some rope, a propeller from my fan that I had sitting at my desk, just something little that I could take apart and reconfigure. Balloons that I had for some special occasion. This was the dryer in my basement. And I'm going to share all of these images with you in the hope that it sheds some light on how you could see ordinary objects in new ways. So here we have a watch that I thought was really interesting, so I used that. These were not my finest period of work, but it was really fun and it led to so much growth. So here's a stapler. You know, I don't even know if we need to talk about the milk. The milk is a whole situation, isn't it? So we've got the milk where I put myself in this cup of milk. Then we've got the trash can, one of several trash cans that I could have shown you, that I had outside. I hope this is giving you some ideas of how you might see your everyday objects in new ways.